والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. The Sheikh is starting as usual with a dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to accept from us and to bestow His mercy on us. We still continue talking about the contemplation of in the Surah of Al-Baqarah. But while we're talking about this, we would like to have two introductions. The first one of our brothers came to me after Asr prayers, and he was angry. He has a jealousy on the masjid, and he wants to discuss this in public. Whomever come in the masjid in their night gowns, and sometimes the smell of that is extremely bad and does not even look good. And he said, if some of them wants to go and meet a minister or a manager, not even a king or a prince, even less than that, he would wear the best clothes and put the best cologne for himself. He said, I have a lot of feelings and mixed emotions about those who come to the house of Allah in this very ugly way, where he don't care about his clothes or his smell or his look, and have promised that I will talk about this subject. So I want to start this gathering to discuss this issue. Allah says, O son of Adam, take your beauty in front of every masjid, in every masjid. The scholars, they learn from this that you need to cut your awrah. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. The beautifying yourself, that if you go to the masjid, you wear the best of clothes. So beautify yourself when you come to Allah, when you go to His house. Allah is the most person that you need to beautify yourself to Allah. So when Ibn Umar was asked about whomever is taken in his uncover his head, he is those who don't cover themselves, they are really making fun of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah is more prior that we make good that you have to beautify yourself to Allah. When you come out of bed and jump to the masjid, that's not appropriate. What else is there's a hadith, and from it you take a measurement on it. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbid that the masjid, whomever ate onions or garlic. The angels, they get they do get hurt just like human beings. And also the Prophet ﷺ said that whomever eat from this plant, and he was pointing to the and he was talking about garlic. So every every smell, like the smell of uh, cigarettes. Be careful that when you come to the masjid and you are smoking cigarette, no matter how much you try to hide it, it's going to be clear. It's going to be obvious. Everybody's going to smell it. If you get closer to him, if you touch him, you will even have that smell on you. Alhamdulillah, Allah did not make these sins do not have a smell. Otherwise, we all have a big smell on everything we cover from the sins. So before you come to the masjid, make sure you do not hurt people by your smell. And the person, if he ate garlic or onions, he could eat like certain there's solutions for it, like you could eat parsley or mint. The problem with brushing your teeth is not enough, because the smell comes from your stomach. So it needs something that is more than just the toothbrush or toothpaste. Another thing, when you raise your voice in the masjid, in fact, this is something that needs to talk about. A lot of times the voice is very loud during the lecture. We have a lecturer and people are discussing in the back, and there is only 5 meters between me and the person who's talking. How about the person who is talking? This is really distressing. If you don't want to listen to the lecture, that's your right, but if you please, if you could move a little bit to the forward, so you do not like go back, get out of the masjid. Don't distract people. This is the house of Allah. To raise the house of your voice in the house of Allah is not allowed. In the hadith of Salah Al Sawy, he said, I was staying in the masjid, Sayyid ibn Yazid, he said, I was sitting in the masjid and a man hit me with a stone. So I looked back, it is Umar ibn Khattab. He said, go and give me those two. There's two people talking. So I brought them to Umar. He said, where are you from? They said, we are from At-Taif, a city away from Medina. He said, if you are from Medina, I would have hit you and make it painful for you. You raised your voices in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How dare you raise your voice in the masjid of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So he gave them the excuse that they are not from Al-Medina, where they know the Sunnah and the knowledge is widespread in Medina. So someone who came from different place, you could excuse him because he might not know what the Sunnah is. And another hadith from Ka'b ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, that he had a loan in the masjid, and they start raising their voices. He said, give me my money. No, yes, some kind of discussion that went bad because they start raising their voices, and the Prophet ﷺ heard them in his house. So he went out to them and he opened his door and he said, oh Ka'b. He said, yes, O Prophet of Allah. He said, forget your loan. And he said, half, like give half of your loan. He said, I will do that, Ya Rasulullah. And then he told the other, go and give him his money. So he interceded. So he told the one who has who owns the loan to give up half of it, and he told the poor person to give his money, because the money who has the person who has debt and he has money but he delay paying it, there is a big punishment for that. So the Prophet ﷺ want to be merciful on him, so he asked the debtor to cut his debt to half. And this is as a mercy from the Prophet ﷺ. And sometimes you find someone who came in and he wanted to say his thing. He said, I am traveling and something happened to me. Is this something permissible? It was discussed to the Lajnat al-Ifta, and their answer was as follows. It is forbidden to ask in the masjid and out of the masjid except for necessity. To ask, it is forbidden in the masjid or outside except for necessity. You cannot ask people because you need more. You don't do that through asking people, except for necessity. If the person needs it for to raise something that he has, and he did not force people by going on top of the lines. You cannot come from the end of the masjid and the masjid is full and you are just passing people so you could come to the front. If you want to do that, get yourself early and come in the first rows until you are allowed to talk, so you can expose whatever you need. And we hope in the future that the Imam and do not pass by people on Jummah. It hurts me to come from outside and I come by all people. I have to, because I'm the last person who enters. I cannot be the first one. I cannot come early. Once I go in, the angels, they unfold their files and they listen to the mu'adhin. So whomever is absent is absent. So the Imam is the last person to go, so he will go to Mibra. Inshallah, in our new arrangement in the masjid, we go to we make everything from the back, so the masjid, he will come from outside to the member. I mean, there is nothing but a wall, and most of the masjid are aware of this. Clear Lake are doing the same thing in their extension. They did that. The Imam and the day of Jum'ah, he do not go between people, but he got a door that he goes immediately to the member. And he do not lie about himself. The truth leads to piety, and piety leads to Jannah. And he did not ask his he did not say it loudly where he is distracting people. The masjid is not owned by you, so you need to understand people who are reciting Quran, some are making dhikr or praying. The people are listening to the khatib, they don't address them, or they are people are listening to a lecture like we are doing right now, and someone comes in and said, I'm in need, do people listen to him or to the lecturer? Of course, this distraction that is not allowed, or other things that go to distract them in their worship. So if he did all these rules, it's okay. Abu Dawud narrated that Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq said that the Prophet ﷺ said, did any of you fed a needy? Abu Bakr said, I did, and I saw someone asking, so I found some bread between the hand of Abdurrahman. I took it and gave it to him. It was written to Allah and to Muhammad on the people and the commemoration of people that he made charity on that day. because it's a character that if it is if it is gathered in one person, enter Jannah. He did not plan this. He saw something in his the hand of his son. He took it and gave it to the needy. Allah recorded in His book, and the Prophet ﷺ recorded it, and it is in the and Abu Bakr did this. Those three characters of following a funeral, giving a charity, bridge janazah, and went and visited a needy, a person who is sick. The Prophet ﷺ said, those are gathered only in a person that enter Jannah. I want to mention this point, inshallah. There was another topic. If we talked about it, it's going to take all the time. We'll give it till Monday, inshallah. Today, we discuss what Allah said. Or you want to ask your messenger, like Musa before, and whomever change disbelief with instead of faith, he has went astray. Allah Azza wa Jal is trying to give the best characters to the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and to prepare those who follows later on to the end of time, not to ask the Prophet ﷺ too much on the things before it happens. Things did not happen, don't ask about it. When it happens, then you ask about its details. And for that, or don't ask about things if you don't know, it's going to be bad for you. And when it happens and you are asked about it, then you will find the knowledge as on these details. But before it happened and before it exists, you should not compete about if or hypothetical questions that did not happen. That's why in the Sahih that the greatest criminal in Islam, if they ask something that was not forbidden and became forbidden because of him asking. And we have mentioned this hadith before in the last Hajj, when he stood in Al-Madinah before he leaving it. He said, oh, we believe Allah has obligated on you Al-Hajj, so prepare Hajj. And Ibn Harith said, every year, O Prophet ﷺ, and he would get quiet. And he asked him again, and he was quiet. And he asked him a third time. He said, no. And if I would say, yeah, it will be obligatory, and you cannot do it. Leave me if what I did not mention to you, because it destroyed those before you, because you asked too much, and their differences with their prophets. So if I order you something, take whatever you can. And if I forbid you something, stay away from it. And the companions, they learned this character, and they did not crowd each other before on asking the Prophet ﷺ on things that did not happen. And they liked the Bedouins from outside al-Medina. If one have several questions, some narration said and a Bedouin came in, so we gave him a good seating so he could ask and we could learn. The Prophet ﷺ considered everyone who comes outside Medina as a guest, and he greet him really good. But his companions who are with him day and night, they have to have the characters that he taught them what to do. So Al-Bara ibn Azib says, a year will pass by, and I want to ask the Prophet ﷺ something, and I fear him, and we were to wish the Bedouins to come in so they could learn and we could learn from them. And the point here, the questions of that don't make sense, hypothetical questions. But if someone had a problem and he need to know what is the rule of Allah, no, they will run to the Prophet. It is obligated. He's obligated to ask. Allah said, and ask the people of knowledge, or the people of dhikr, if you don't know. The Prophet said, if one didn't ask, if they did not know the cure of any problems, to ask. If you don't know, ask. And this is the story of the companions. In a battle, some of them, one of them, he had an injury. When he woke up, he had his junub, and he's sick. He said, "Can you see a reason why I should make tayammum?" They said, "No, because you can wash with water." So how are you gonna make tayammum? So he made ghusl, then he died because it was too cold, and he has fever. So when they went to Rasulullah and he told them, they told him what happened. He said, "Oh, they killed him. Allah killed him." Don't they know? If they did not know, shouldn't they ask if you have no knowledge? So if you need to know, you need a question, you ask. But don't ask something has like someone would come in and Makkah Rasulullah said, "Who is my father?" Or he will say, "Where is my camel?" And Allah brought this ayah, "Oh, who you believe." Don't ask on things. If it's clear to them, then it will be bad for you. And if you wait until the Quran comes down, then it will be shown to you. And something similar to that, the questions of the question of the ayat are of arrogance. Like, when is the time? When is the hour? He said, "It's knowledge of Allah. No one is supposed to stop except Allah. It is very heavy in the heavens and earth, and will come to you as sudden. And the spirit is from Allah, and you did not give him from knowledge except a little bit." And the mushrikeen, they used to ask about the ayat and the miracles, not so they will be guarded or to calm their soul. It's just to embarrass the Prophet ﷺ. They said, "We will not believe you until you bring this mountain, make it gold. And if you change it in front of us to gold, they will believe in you. Or you expose to us spring water." Or you have garden of grapes and palm tree, and among that you see water overflowing. Or bring from the heavens, just like you claimed. Or bring the angels. Or you have a house that is golden, and will not believe in your religion until you bring us a book that we could read. And he said, "Praise to Allah, was I nothing but a messenger and a messenger." When they asked the Prophet ﷺ that, he said, when they asked a table from the heaven, Allah said, "I will bring it down, but whomever disbelieve in it, I will punish him. A punishment I did not punish it to anyone before." So you want this mountain as gold, it will be. And whomever disbelieve after that, Allah will punish him a punishment that He did not punish anyone after. So they refused. That's why Allah said, and nothing stopped us from sending the signs except that the first people disbelieved in it. So Allah punished them, a general punishment, and took their roots. Allah said, nothing stopped us from sending the signs except that the first generation disbelieved in it. But Allah had decreed that this Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will not be wiped out in 1 year. Ameen. 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 Or do you want to ask your prophet, a messenger, like all those who asked Musa before, and whomever switch disbelief instead of faith, he has guided to the misguidance. Then he said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, if our wiping of the sins like the people of Israel, but nobody can whether what they have done." Allah said, "We don't want it. We don't want nothing in this life. What Allah gives you, it is better from what He gave the sons of Israel." You know how the wiping of the sins of Israel, if one of them committed a sin, he will find it written on his door, so it'll be exposed on everybody. And his sin, it will be coming to him, and if he don't ask repentance, it will be Allah Azza wa Jal has taken the burdens on this followers of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So whatever He gives you, it is better from what He gave the sons of Israel. Allah the Almighty, He gave you, Allah said, whomever give something evil or transgress about himself and then ask Allah forgiveness, he will find Allah is most forgiving. So whomever give us and expose his sins, Allah's punishment is on him. Allah said, and those believers only came to you with our son, peace be on you. Allah has written on Himself mercy, that whomever did wrongfully evil things and he repented, Allah is most forgiving. And then the 5 prayers, and Friday to Friday, and Ramadan to Ramadan, it will buy who's in between them, as long as no major sins in there. Imagine if you find all your bad deed right there on the your doorsteps, and the punishment is right there waiting for you. And Allah Azza wa Jal, out of His mercy, He's merciful. If we commit a sin, if we intend to do a sin, it will not be written, and if we did it, then it will be a sin. And if you intended to do a good deed, it will be written 1 deed, and if you did it, then 10 times. And no one will be destroyed except those who are destroyed. Ibn Mas'ud, when this ayah came down, whomever do bad and he asks for repentance, he will find Allah most forgiving. He said this ayah, it is to the people of sins from everything in this life. Allah said those who do wrong and transgress among themselves, they remember Allah and they ask Allah's forgiveness. And who forgives the sins except Allah? And they did not insist of what they did, and they know. So whomever exchanged the disbelief instead of faith, he has lost a lot. Those who lose themselves and their family at the day of judgment, Allah said, the losers are the one who lose themselves and their family at the day of judgment. Indeed, this is the clear loss. Indeed, the losers are in great punishment, and the day of judgment they all disperse. This is the true leaving. We leave this life when we get death. And the second time, the separation is the day of hour, when they are dispersed. Those who did good, they are in garden enjoying, and those who disbelieved and they disbelieved in our son and meeting Allah, these are in the punishment flipping, changing. Ameen. And a lot of the people of the book, they wish if they could change you after your faith as disbelievers, as an envy from themselves after it was clear to them the truth. So ask for forgiveness until Allah decide on this matter. So it's not we cannot we'll inshallah continue this one next Monday, and we'll continue next week inshallah, so we'll give it its fairness inshallah.